Hey, everybody. Hey, Barb. Hey, Rob. Hey, everybody out in the viewer audience and the people who will be watching us later, not live, but definitely Memorex, though that is copyrighted and trademarked. So maybe not Memorex, maybe a bootleg Memorex. But yeah, thanks for joining us tonight for tonight's Wednesday Wham. We are in the 10-day countdown to Valentine's Day. So we figured that, yep, thank you, the man with the hands. Yep, jazz hands. We figured we would do a talk today about what is love and in comics. And we'll get into some more talking points in just a few minutes. Yes, you guys got it. But let's start with, and I'm going to see if I could do it correctly, this young lady over here. Barb, please introduce yourself.
You must be mirroring.
I think so.
It's the other way. Nope. Yep. Barb Kjellberg, pro. I started in 1988, and been doing it ever since. And about 7 years ago, I've been inking for that long, and about 7 years ago, I also picked up writing and coloring. And I'm also the CFO of Silverline. And I have my own book called Divinity, which I am working on issue number 6 right now. I'm inking it. 7 is penciled. 8 I need to finish writing.
But it will be worth it. It's simmering, correct?
Always worth the wait. Always worth the wait.
It's a slow simmer, and it will taste even better the day after. All right. Down below, Mr. Rob.
Oh, yeah. I started just a few months before Barb did in this industry. So I've been around just about as long. And
just old folks.
Yeah. Started out as a letterer, then I was an inker, and then I became a penciler. And pretty much stuck with that because I was better at that than the other two. Stuck with that for a number of years. Then the implosion in the 90s kind of pushed me and a lot of other people out of the industry. I've done a lot of different stuff since then, but when I was working in the industry, now that I'm back, I drew everything from Merlin in the Far Distant Past to Star Trek and Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in the far-flung future and all kinds of stuff in between. I recently kind of 7-8 years ago, I hooked up, well, no, it's been 5 or 6 years ago, hooked up with Silverline, did a series for them called Twilight Grim that came out through the catalog. And right now I'm doing the occasional cover for them, also doing spot illustrations, art direction for a publishing company I formed with Ron Portier called Airship 27, and still working on that and keeping busy in my retirement years. Busier now than I've ever been. So,
yeah, I have a show this weekend in Green Bay.
Ooh.
Yep.
I just paid for tables at Ocon in where is it? Council Bluffs, Iowa, right across the river from Omaha.
Very nice.
I will be at the Oneida Casino Conference Center in Green Bay on Saturday.
Very
Wisconsin.
Cool.
You'll be in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
That's the best Wisconsin I've ever heard. Oh my God, that's awesome. How long a drive is that for you, Barb?
2 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
Oh, that's not bad. It's like me in Kansas City. I'm about 2 hours away from Kansas City.
Yeah. I'm 2 hours from Chicago, 2 hours from Green Bay, 2 hours from Davenport, 2 hours from Dubuque.
Sounds like a nice little hub. I mean, really.
Yep. She's on the hub.
Yep. Madison
running around you. Yeah. Madison. Yeah. What's the state capital? Is it the state capital?
It is the state capital.
That's what I was thinking.
It's beautiful. That capital is beautiful.
I had it right.
It sits on the isthmus of land between two huge lakes, and you wonder why that little isthmus doesn't crack and fall in half. Because the Capitol sits right at the narrowest point, which is like 6 blocks wide. Strip of land between these two huge lakes. It's beautiful.
My son and I went up to Madison. You know, I've been to Madison a bunch of times, but my kiddo and I went up there for a RuPaul Drag Race show that was playing at the Sylvie there, and you know, we went to the Capitol and got caught in the worst downpour ever. And we were like doing photos and stuff. So I have like photos of us completely drenched at the Capitol, you know. But it was
a Capitol.
What's that?
Did you go in the Capitol?
No, every time I've been there, it's been closed.
Oh, that's too bad. Because if you
get there like later in the day or whatnot.
If you get inside, I mean, it's got a beautiful rotunda, and we get people. Hey, Pops. We get people that come here and do filmmaking because it is a smaller replica of our nation's capital. So they sub it in movies a lot of times.
Very, very cool.
But if you go inside and you look up in the rotunda, they've got all these entrances that there are 8 entrances that come onto the rotunda, and above each one of them, above 4 of them, north, east, south, and west entrances, there are huge badger gargoyles.
Yes, I've got photos of those because I remember making Batman comments. So,
and yes, folks, this is the home of the Badger, the comic book The Badger.
Named for the
oh my God, I've never put those two together until
you
just now.
Didn't? Well,
no, and of course Stephen Butler like drew Badger, which like
Steve Butler lives,
and that's the reason
Jeff Butler lives here. And
the reason I read the Badger was because of our Stephen Butler back in the day, and Jeff Butler before him had done it too.
The Butler boys,
Steve Rude and Mike Barron went to school here, and then he lived here for a while. Oh yeah. I used to go over to Mike Barron's house all the time.
I learned all this going to Chicago Con way back in the day. Yeah,
and then
I met some of these folks.
Steve moved first, and then Mike moved to Mike moved to Colorado.
Yeah, he's out in Port Collins now, where my pal Ron Fortier is.
But he lived here in Madison for a long time. And if you notice if you read the Badger, you'll notice all of this stuff that you see in Madison. He uses landmarks, especially like the tunnels underneath the university, and stuff like that. And Barneveld is where his Ham's Castle is set. Barneveld is a town about 30 minutes west of Madison towards Dubuque, and it was the big town where the tornado took 99% of the town. It left like one building standing here several decades ago. And Ham's Castle is located in Barneveld.
You know, John, I just realized something. Did you tell us who you are?
Nope. And I realized that too, and I honestly didn't care because I'm like, this conversation's awesome. You know, I'm learning stuff,
but you should introduce yourself for those who aren't here every week.
I figured I'd swing back to
most
that.
Everybody that's watching us now knows who you are, but maybe in the YouTube when it's up and people can watch it later, they might not know who you are. So tell us who you are.
You are the best publicist I could possibly ask for. You are awesome.
Like and subscribe.
Hi, everybody. Yes, like and subscribe. My name is John Medic. I am the creator and writer of the comic book Sniper and Rook, out from Silverline with the Area 50 miniseries, and also the creator of our skeleton-clad superhero Ripper, who hopefully will be getting his own miniseries before much longer as well.
Cool.
And I get to be your host tonight. Yay! And yes, so Rob's doing chat has again because we are going to be talking about the 10-day countdown to Valentine's Day. So, of course, next week is Valentine's Day. Might be a bit better timing to talk about it then, but I wasn't hosting that week, and we already had a topic. So I'm like, I want to talk about love, and we could talk about, what is love, and we could talk about like tainted love, and we could talk about like toxic love, and we could talk about triangles, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I kind of want to talk about today. No PowerPoint for me today. I know. I'm sorry, everybody.
I'm so surprised.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't have the ability to get it together and done to my quality the way I wanted it. But everybody who's watching, wait until the 18th. The 18th, I am hosting again. And we will be doing quiz. So we will be doing trivia, quiz. PowerPoint's been in works for weeks now. It looks fabulous and everybody's going to love it. And so, yeah, make sure that you tune in not just this week and next week, but the week after as well. And then every subsequent Wednesday after that too. But, some of the stuff I kind of want to talk about today, since we are in the season of Valentine's Day and we are talking about love, taking a look at some of our favorite comic book loves, and kind of want to talk about the what's and the whys, and some of them, why do we care? Why have we cared for decades?
Why have we cared for decades about Clark and Lois?
And that would be one of them. Yes, and then there's some of the major ones that I figured that we would hit. And I have a little cheat sheet here to interject in case we don't hit some of them, but I kind of want to hear from folks in comments. Please put people in comments. Kaz, who is not here with us tonight, did throw one into our chat, which is on my list, and I have some interesting things, perspective on that one too. But kind of like the what's and the whys, and why do the readers still keep caring decades later in some of these cases? Is every relationship in comics good? No. Should we maybe look at some of the not so great?
Hank Pym.
That's the one I was thinking. Don't know if you guys do you guys remember when they made a Charlie's Angel movie and they had the guy who played George McFly cast as the Thin Man, and he's fighting them in the alleyway, and they play a song, I forget who does it, but it's called Smack My Bitch Up.
What?
And yes, it's a very electro song, and if I had the PowerPoint done, I would have shown the panel with Hank Pym and the Wasp and used that as a soundtrack. And I was just like, oh, this is too perfect. And maybe that's why the PowerPoint didn't get done. I don't know. But yeah, definitely that right there would be one of the tainted loves. Not so good. Definitely not a strong point in his life. That was very, very bad. And yeah, and I definitely want to talk about some love triangles, because comics thrive on some of those. So yeah, we call it the Betty and Veronica factor. It's so yeah, we can take a look at some of those too, because they are legion in comic land. But Barb, would you mind leading us off? Because when I had said, why do we care so many decades later about some of these people? You were right there. You were quick on the switch, and you're like, oh, Lois and Clark. And weren't those the guys who founded, or didn't they explore America?
Yeah, Lewis and Clark. I have a cookbook for Lewis and Clark. Well, I mean, obviously, these two are the quintessential couple of comicdom. Right behind him is Peter Parker and his loves.
That is the slide I did get done. The many loves of Peter Parker. Yes. Yes,
he's always constantly in love or something, and loving and losing, or loving and killing. But I think a lot of people want the Superman and Wonder Woman more than Lois and Clark. But I don't think that's I don't think
that's a good idea.
No,
Yeah.
because I mean everybody always associates Superman as Clark Kent and Lois Lane. So I mean there have been storylines where Wonder Woman and Superman have gotten together, but mostly it's Lois. And I mean the fact that we are so ingrained with this couple is because they've been around forever, and we've grown up with them, and they're basically mom and pop to us. And we don't like to see mom and dad fight. So we want them to get together, and they work well together, and Lois humanizes.
They complement each other. Yeah.
That
Lois,
was a phrase I was looking for. Yeah, she grounds him in his humanity.
right.
Yeah.
She humanizes him to the fact that he cares about humanity because he loves a human woman, and he can see things from their perspective. He loves Lois. And did they ever have kids?
Yes,
No.
they have kids. They have kids in the DC universe right now. Anyway, one of their sons is actually got his own book now.
Is that the
I
one
think
that's dating Robin?
Well, he is gay. Yes, I don't know who he's dating, but and
Tim Drake.
I haven't been reading the book, but but he has his own book right now. So yes, and in one of the TV series, he and Lois, Superman and Lois, had two sons, pretty similarly to the ones in the comic books. That and a lot of the angst of the show was around these two teenage boys that were their offspring, and whether they were going to get superpowers or not, and blah 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 blah. So I've only seen an episode or two of that. Anybody out there who's watching this can comment on that. But yeah, they had children.
I don't
Yeah,
think. There's a few.
I didn't realize it was actually biological. John was their biological kiddo.
No, I don't know. I don't know that.
No, you're right. You're right. I looked it up. I was like, wow, I didn't realize. I'm learning so much tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I should host more often.
There's been a few
named
heroes
it for Jonathan Kent. So yeah.
Yeah. There's been a few superheroes out there who have been no interest in romance. They just they're so focused on their superheroing that they don't have time for, that kind of life. And I can't relate to them as well, because they don't go through the same personal problems as you and I, and they seem so remote. It's the superhero or superheroine with a love interest.
They don't seem real, because most people love other people, even if it's of the same sex. They have a love life of a sort. They have someone who helps round them out into a better human being. Real people do all the time. So yeah, it just seems
you can't connect as well.
Yeah. But there are people out there who are essentially asexual, who don't have this crazy craving a lot of us do to find a mate. So it does exist. I don't know that there are enough people for that to have someone have people out there who would identify with those characters. So let me ask, and I think you want to identify with the characters you're reading, I think.
So let me ask a question. I was like, oh, Rob said a lot of cool things. How could I bounce that in my list? And Barb, going off of what you were saying too, that these are relationships and that we care about, and they're people, and some of them may be seeming asexual and you can't really connect to them as people. So I'm pulling together stuff that both of you have said. But what about when somebody is not a person, and maybe they should only be asexual because they're not a person, but they fall in love and have some of like the greatest romances in comics?
You mean like the Vision?
What do you guys think about Vision and Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
Well, they have a troubled past. They've fallen in and out of love and got divorced, I think, at least once. I always wondered when he came out of Helen Cho's cradle if he was completely anatomically correct.
As anatomically impaired as a Ken doll.
Yes. Because that would obviously throw a monkey wrench into a few things.
Well, seeing as how she did will their children,
others it wouldn't. But yeah.
If she willed their children into existence, and then there was the question as to how an android and a human mutant could have children, that would suggest I at least went through the motions to get them to that question. Is that WD-40? Is that like?
Well, it depends.
Well, he can morph. He can morph himself to look like a human being. So I'm assuming he can morph other parts of him.
And that, so is that 10W30? Is it WD-4? We won't go there. But how do you make babies out of that? So Billy and Tommy.
Depends on the kind of android he is. If he was created down to that level, and it's quite possible as a synthetic human being,
which he was.
He could have been created down to the cellular level, and in that fashion. So it's possible if you can dissect what DNA is and RNA is and create an artificial form of that, then it would work. Why not?
That's what, and actually, thanks for putting that up there. Javier is talking about Data was from Star Trek, and I'm sure John Byrne thought about it and explored it on his run on West Coast Avengers, if he recalls correctly. Thank you. Great point, because I was actually going to go to the Wackos run. And I remember when Wanda went absolutely, positively bonkers because Vision got disassembled completely. And I remember his body being taken apart piece by piece. I'm looking up right now. Can I spell it? And so, Rob, when you were talking about the whole idea of if it's down to that cellular level or not,
if you're created cellularly or not,
this one would show that it's not. I'm going to open the image in a new tab. Let me try to pull that up.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's
even if it's cellular,
created,
you wouldn't think he would have the spark of life in his sperm, so to speak, to create life.
So that's what we got in the West Coast Avengers. Is it showing on the screen?
Nope.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So it says
there we go.
Okay. So so there we've got that, and he was kind of really taken apart and dismantled.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Yep. And then you see like the red skin, on the one plate. But that was during the John Byrne run. And Wanda was
could do some gross stuff.
Happy. What's that?
Byrne could do some rather graphic stuff in his work. Yeah.
But I know we talked about it during Halloween, the Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries with when we talked about Thanksgiving, the mutant that came to dinner, and it was Magneto. That whole Vision.
I never saw the series.
Oh no!
I don't have Disney Plus.
The comic.
The comic books miniseries.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I love that miniseries. That miniseries was just so much fun. And so Vision and Scarlet Witch, always been a huge fan, and my kiddo loves like Wanda, So, and it's nice to see the next generations. But his is all based on the TV shows.
Love is love.
Yep. So. I know the thing about Peter was brought up, and Pete's got some triangle-y things, maybe like more like
Peter Parker. You're talking Peter Parker now.
Let's go ahead.
I want to make sure we said that correctly. MJ and which one of them got their neck cracked?
Gwen.
Gwen
Stacy. Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to Pete.
People were really moved by that.
I'm still upset.
So why were we so moved about a comic book character's death?
Because the writer and the artist made them feel real, made them feel they had mixed emotions. They weren't two-dimensional characters. They felt real.
Well, and they threw a real realism monkey wrench into the comic book, universe. We're like, oh yeah, gravity exists. That's true.
Yeah,
it's not all down
and does work even in their world.
Yeah. Physics is a thing, with that snap. I can say, from my perspective, and so of course I was young, like when those books were out. I was really, really young. Growing up, Gwen was like my perfect model of a girl. Like growing up, it's like if I was Peter, I never would have been like, oh, Mary Jane or Gwen. It's like Gwen was smart and beautiful and kind, and like she was everything I had hoped to eventually find. It only took me 50 years to this day, and my wife will attest to it. It's because of Gwen Stacy. I absolutely adore when Amy wears a headband for me. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Hey, we know your kink.
I'm talking like even out to dinner. I'm not talking.
We know John's king.
I'm just saying, like if she dresses up nice and wears a headband, and she actually did that.
You're blushing.
Yeah, me? Oh no, it's just bad lighting. But like Gwen was always the one. The one that I thought that Peter should settle down with. The one. In some of the best characters are the ones where people could see themselves in that character or parts of it. Growing up, that was very much the dynamic that I had, and I'm like, dude, that's the girl. The other one, no. That's my mileage on it. So when Gwen died, that was rough. And I was little. And then I was reading it again later on. Mary Jane to me was always kind of the condolence prize because she was the one that lived. And it's like, okay, so I'm talking in pizza realm, it's like, I'm still not happy with what was done to their relationship at Marvel. So of course, Gwen died. I remember when they brought back the Gwen clone. That was awesome. Very, very cool. And then what's that?
If she should have stayed dead.
Well, I agree completely.
She should have stayed dead.
But when I was young, I'm like,
impact.
yeah, she's back. But no, and it turned out to be not even a clone. They explained that sometime in the late 80s through the Evolutionary Wars annual crossover storyline. But yeah, Mary Jane, I hate the fact that Joe Quesada destroyed that marriage. I remember being in junior high when Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21 was coming out, and I could not wait for that thing. It was the summer between my 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to get my hands on this. And they had a variant cover. It's like, ooh, variant covers were kind of rare back then. The one with Peter marrying Mary Jane and one with Spider-Man marrying Mary Jane. And yeah, for Quesada to destroy that wedding or to destroy that whole marriage, that sucked. Barb, you said something very poignant earlier about Lois and Clark kind of being like the parents, and kids don't want to see the parents fighting. And I immediately thought about like the difference with Pete. So like Pete's like the everlasting teenager that we all kind of like wanted to hang out with, or we consider ourselves hanging out with, not necessarily the mom-dad dynamic.
Flashes us back to all of our high school angst.
And people are, people who write characters that angst carries with us and that we actually care about them. I mean, that's a sign of good writing there. Since we were talking about Pete, may as well bounce to the next one. This one goes into the current, I guess still current-ish triangle. Black Cat. Peter Parker and Black Cat. What do you think?
I'm not aware of the storyline.
Okay. All right. This goes back to the 80s as well.
She's been after Peter Parker. She's been after Spider-Man.
Bingo.
For decades.
Yeah.
So that it's been a triangle, and Spider-Man's been very torn about it. So it's that kind of relationship where with guys, a lot of times when a woman is coming on to them and they're really not looking for anything, they're torn between, should I do this or should I not do this? And that's
which head are they thinking with? Yes.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, and it's a battle that men have. So it was great to see them dive into that and delve and see how that gets worked out. So that's what's happening with Black Cat.
And he had the moral quandary.
I think it's fascinating. But
he had the moral quandary because she was a criminal. Mm-hmm. And so is he complicit with that? Is he not? And, the thing so Rob, I mean, you're a good looking guy and you're successful. And, are you ever like, I wonder if the woman loves me for me or what I could provide? Well, that's the problem that Peter had, because he wouldn't even have to question. Felicia had no use for Peter. She wasn't interested in Peter. When Barb, going back to like your whole thing is about bow chicky bow wow stuff, she'd say like, no, keep the mask on. She had no interest
the hots for Spider-Man, not Peter Parker.
Yep. So Rob, when you caught that and corrected it. Yeah, you are so right. She didn't
Well,
care
and
about.
I see that as a Marvel reflection of Batman and Catwoman, but
Also on the list.
it's a different dynamic though, because Peter Parker, for much of the interaction with Black Cat, has actually either been steadily dating Mary Jane or married to Mary Jane. So you've got that also in the dynamic as well. But it's a battle a lot of men come into when they have a woman coming onto them, and they either already have a partner or a wife, and so it's a do I or don't I type of thing, and it's a tough one.
Most men, when it's offered to them on a silver platter, will take a bite.
Well, yeah, or take a nibble. Yeah.
So you guys mentioned Batman and Catwoman. And I had them on the list too. Now I'll put that one into a triangle kind of as well.
Okay, so because it's a similar situation to the Black Cat Peter Parker, or I did it again. It's Black Cat and Spider-Man. It's not Parker. So yeah, but it's a very similar situation.
What's your guys' take on, and Rob, since you're saying it's kind of similar, Barb, what's your take on Batman and Catwoman?
I think Catwoman's got a danger kink.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And to her, Batman is not only dangerous, but he's a challenge.
Kind of that forbidden fruit?
The forbidden fruit. And, I mean, for Bruce Wayne, for all of his vaunted playboy reputation, he's too busy being Batman to really spend a lot of entertainment time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a healthy male, and Catwoman is a very healthy woman.
Mm-hmm.
I can absolutely see where he would throw over his morals for a fun night.
And see, they actually, and that's kind of where I wanted to go. With Batman, it was way more than just a night. They were supposed to be getting married within the last couple of years, and then she didn't show, or did he not show? One of them didn't.
Well, I bet it was her, because it's the whole thing for her, I think, is the chase, or she's playing with her toy.
Yes,
and I think it was she didn't show because she realized if she did, now it's all coming back to me, kind of like that song. She didn't show up because she realized if she married him, he'd stop being the Batman, and that's what he needs to be for him. So it was kind of one of those, she self-sacrificed the relationship,
I think that's rationalization.
It was written that way.
Can you see Selena Kyle as settling down as a wife and possible mother and socialite? Exactly. I mean,
I could just see
so boring.
I think it would be so much fun if they were married, for an anniversary gift or a birthday gift or a Christmas gift. Bruce, he's rich. He gives her a ring or a bracelet or a necklace or some expensive fine jewelry, and then she pulls out one and says, "No, I got one myself." Because she stole it. She'd rather have it stolen than purchased.
And see, I don't think Bruce would be able to stay married to her if he knew that she was committing crimes.
No,
she would have to give up her criminal shenanigans, and I don't think she can.
I don't think she can. It's a compulsion with her.
And so let's talk, so Batman, there are some similarities with Pete and his ladies, but Batman seems to go for the bad girls because his baby mama, Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, there we go. Catwoman, Javier, thank you. Catwoman was afraid of becoming Bruce Wayne's wife. Right on, Barb.
Yep.
So, Talia is the one that gave birth to Robin, Damian Wayne. So Batman seems to like the bad girl. What's that?
Demon Wayne?
Damian.
Yeah.
Demon.
Demon. Yeah. Yeah, that's why he's named as he is, yes.
I'm wondering about his psychology behind all of this, because Batman himself is like a step away from Looney Tunes, at times. Not completely crazy, but almost Joker crazy, you know, with the ability to plan ahead and see things out. Is his love for the girls that are not on the side of the angels all the time, like almost a reflection of he knows he could be in that camp, but chooses not to? Does that give him that opportunity to walk that danger road, you know, and then pick out the ones, you know, the ladies that he knows would fall on the good side if they had to?
All right, so let's take a look at this way. I think Bruce is addicted to the adrenaline thrill of being Batman, right?
Okay,
I mean,
fair.
He's got a very strong moral compass. Yes, he wants justice, but he loves the chase. He loves the thrill of figuring the puzzles out. It's a rush for him, and I would think he would find your run-of-the-mill socialite
boring.
A wet noodle, boring in a wet noodle, a milk sop. I mean,
and I think it's more than he loves it. I think it's a compulsion. It fills a need that he has, that fills a hole that the death of his parents created. Is this constant going after the bad guys?
I think
that adrenaline rush.
Okay, so Rob, what about this? Okay, so you just made me think. I got my whole like psychiatry hat on now. The death of his parents caused a love that he lost forever. And by pursuing these unattainable for eternity girls, he's self-sabotaging to ensure he will never have an everlasting love. And see how I got another 80s song reference in there? Yay me. But yeah, and so maybe it is self-sabotage to make sure that whole
it's also the fear of loss. It's also the fear of loss because he lost his parents. If he gets a love like that in his life, he could lose it and lose his heart again. So there's the fear of that. But he's filling that empty spot with the pursuit of bad guys, of solving crimes. So that's filling that hole for him. At least that's the way I've always seen him.
So I want to go, since we're in Bat family right now. Anyway, I never understood. To this day, I don't understand, and I cannot stand the thought of that. Why did they try to put Dick Grayson with Starfire, Coriander, that big hulking orange alien woman from another planet? Made absolutely no sense to me. It's like he's more street level, she's cosmic. Hated it. To me, the one that Dick should be with, Barbara Gordon. Period. Written in the stars.
Who?
Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon.
Batgirl.
Yep.
Yeah. You went Oracle. Yeah.
I think
now Oracle. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's like dating your sister. I think he sees her more as a sister than a love interest. Those two have had the hots for each other since they were teens. Yeah, I don't think that's. I think it's a sister cousin type of thing.
A lot of times you don't realize what's right under your nose.
There is that too. Yeah.
For years, I mean, look at one of my very, very favorite messed up love interests is in Strangers in Paradise. We have.
I've never read that.
Kachu is in love with Francine and has been for years and years and years since they were teenagers. But Francine kind of doesn't swing that way, at least for a long time. And she's always looking for love in the wrong places. And then they run across David and they become this trilogy, right? This trio. David loves Kachu. Kachu loves Francine. Francine gets married to Freddie, who's an idiot. And breaks Kachu's heart because she's married, but she suffers in silence. And all the while, David's still loving Kachu in silence. And then towards the end of the series, then Kachu wants to have a baby. And David has got brain cancer. So they get together to have a baby, even though Kachu and Francine are finally starting to realize, or Francine's
Get it off, yeah.
finally realize that what she wanted was right in front of her all this time, all these years. And so David finally gets Kachu pregnant and then dies. So he kind of gets his wish fulfillment. He gets with Kachu anyway, even though Kachu is a lesbian, but she still wants a kid, right? So she and David have a kid. And then in the end, Francine is also pregnant, gets pregnant by somebody, I can't remember. So in the end, they're both pregnant together and they get together and raise their kids together. But it's this whole tangled mess all through the series of who loves who, who's breaking
Terry
whose
Moore
heart.
did a great job of that. It's a tangled web of stuff, but it all makes sense.
So was the book
well done, beautifully drawn, well
was
written.
the book heavy soap opera?
Yes,
No,
but with
well-
lots of intrigue too.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, and then we can't forget what was her name?
You'd enjoy it, I think. You'd
Casey,
enjoy it. You
there
need
was-
to see if you can find it. Yeah.
Casey also was in love with David.
Yeah,
David was
just-
in love with Kachu, and Kachu
It
was
was
in love with
Yeah,
Francine.
there's all this stuff
Wow.
happening. All these the molecules are bouncing off of each other. Brownian movement. That's what it's called. But when things get hot and they start bouncing around, it's Brownian movement.
Sorry, you caught me eating bread from dinner. All right, so the Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon conversation didn't go too fast. That's fine. Kaz had thrown something into
I
our
just
chat.
don't see them getting together. I just don't.
Really?
No. But and I
I
think
think
the
eventually they
dynamic-
will.
They might. But the dynamic I see with him and Starfire is that I see it more as her pursuing him and him not resisting.
Would you?
No. Well, not only that, I find her attractive. I don't know that I'd want her as a permanent spouse, but certainly
But I mean,
as a
wouldn't
partner
just the
for a while.
curiosity? It's the curiosity itself. Ooh, alien sex. Ooh.
So
Gotta
yeah,
do
I
this.
think she pursued him. It wasn't one of those cases where he pursued her and won her.
I don't think he
It's the
fought
other
too
way
hard.
around because she's royalty on her planet, if I recall
Right.
correctly. So
And
she's
she
got
moved on to Jason Todd after he came back as Red Hood. So
Oh.
Tim Drake next. I don't know. She seems to like the Robins. Just saying.
Yeah, there'd be quite an age difference with yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go there.
It's a way to put the whole Batman and Robin are they gay questions people were speculating. Okay.
Gotta
Back
give
in
him
the
a
50s.
gotta write in a love interest for both of them just to
To kill that whole rumor, yeah.
yeah.
Put Dick with Hot Space Babe.
With Hot Space Babe, exactly.
Yeah.
That's that logic tracks. I mean, especially for the time. If I could take a side turn there, I actually showed my kid. Well, he's gonna be 21, so he's always my kid. He had never seen Saturday Night Live cartoon short, The Ambiguously Gay Duo. Yeah, and so the other week I was like, okay, kid, watch this, and he's like, I was like, yeah, this was like the 90s or the early 2000s. I was like, this thing's ancient at this point. But I pulled up
still
like the old
hilarious,
Batman
though.
Robin cartoon first, so you could guys
Yep.
remember this style, and then that was kind of a hoot. Our missing in action comrade Kaz sent a note in. Scott Summers and Jean Grey.
There's
I
another
figured we'd get to
triangle
them.
because
And with
Logan
who-
loved Jean Grey.
Who did?
Logan.
Okay, so I'm gonna
And
draw this
originally,
out
the
now.
angel was in that triangle.
Logan loved her.
So Scott and Jean and Wolvie. And see, I've always loved Cyclops. Love the look, love the uniform. His X Factor uniform was like my favorite Cyclops uniform of all time.
And I liked Wolvie.
And did you? When they
you like the bad guys, eh?
I do. I can't.
You like the,
I like all the bad
boys.
guys.
You like the bad boys?
I do.
Yeah. When they took the top off and you had the hair out and fighting a master mold on, what was it, X Factor 14 cover, maybe somewhere around there. I was like, okay, Psych is awesome. But Psych pissed me off. And because he did some stuff that I personally found completely unacceptable. So Jean died. As far as he knew, Jean was dead. And then they retconned it that she was in a cocoon in some body of water, blah, blah, blah. Right, because of the Phoenix. And so she actually wasn't the Phoenix at the time, and the Phoenix, blah, 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 blah. But he married Madeline Pryor. And granted, he married her because she looked a lot like Jean, reminded her of Jean. They retconned that shit later on, saying that, oh, it was Jean's clone made by Mr. Sinister, blah, blah, blah. But Scott married her. They had a kid. And then he got the message, and I think it was actually from Warren, saying, we found, I'm pretty sure it was Warren, saying Jean's back. And Maddie wasn't having it. And she's like, if you leave, they were living up in Anchorage. If you leave, we're done. And Scott left. Now, I
left this kid behind. Yeah, that's a little reprehensible.
Freaking kid. It's like that one, oh my God. I'm like a huge Cyclops fan. But that one, I was like, dude, no man should do that. And I know, but I would never do it. That one really hit below the belt. It's like, these are people we should be looking up to, especially like the leaders. And it's like, I don't care if Jean was your first love, even if she was your true love, you've got a responsibility now to the woman.
I would have written it differently. I would have written it, if it were me, I would have written it where he stayed, but his wife knew he wasn't staying for her. He would stay out of a sense of duty. Him. Yeah, he said staying out of a sense of duty, and it
would up the angst to the max.
Yep, definitely. and love for his kid, but she always knows in the back of her head that he's not staying out of love for her, and that would be like, crank up the angst.
Yeah,
that's the way I would have written it. And
I think that would be a much better way to go.
And then eventually she sets him free.
Yeah, and that's
or dies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's just the typical comic book trope. No, I think set him free and then have shared custody, and then you could work the kid into some of the scripts where he's in. I got my kid this week.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, until they send him into the future and he becomes Cable.
Oh God, yes. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. All these things are one retcon after another. Somebody else, running with the ball from another story from somebody else. I remember Scott went back to the house, and Maddie was gone. The kid was gone, and Goblin Queen, which is Madeline Pryor now. She's an awesome looking character, but she was designed to become like this baddie only later as a way to try to minimize the shitheadedness that's a technical term. I just coined it. That Cyclops showed by ditching his wife. So, here we go. We got somebody commenting. I don't know that.
Chris Claremont.
Oh, I was like Cobra Commander. No, I don't think that Chris Claremont knew what to do with Madeline as a regular human on the mutant team environment. So bye Maddie, hello Jean. And I think that he might have actually gotten. I think they accelerated Jean's return,
and it could have been an editorial thing too.
Yeah, I think they accelerated it faster. That's why some of the things moved quicker. I know the storyline in 200 or 201. With Storm becoming the leader, which was kind of not too long after that, was rushed too. So I think a lot of editorial fingers were in the pie at that point too.
Probably that's my suspect. suspicion as to why some of the crazier things happen is an editor steps in and says, we let's stir the pot a little bit and do this, and okay, but you got to make it work. Sometimes it feels like to me that stuff is it's like you throw your underwear against the wall to see if it sticks.
I've not done that one. I'll have to try that.
Yeah,
you try to force things.
I'll report back next week, sir.
Yeah. And
they try to
you
force
change
things
them when they
create,
stick. So
yeah, they try to force storylines to create angst and stuff like that, but it doesn't work.
Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. But it seems to me that certain periods of time that the stuff just didn't work. They tried all kinds of things, and it didn't work. It's like the whole forgetting, changing the fact that Peter Parker and Mary Jane were married. That seemed forced and a silly, and it's even a silly way to do it. So sometimes that happens, and I think it's editorial, as they call it, editorial fiat. And they make something happen that probably wouldn't have happened organically.
Unfortunately, I did not read the X-Men consistently enough to know whether I knew Logan was in love with Jean.
I was going there next. Actually, I was like, before we move on, I want to go back.
Did anything ever happen between them?
There is an amazing cover drawn by Ian Churchill that I will pull up with him grabbing her, and they're embraced in an amazing kiss. And just like Psyche got with the White Queen, Jean Wolverine. I cannot spell that today.
I followed Logan much more than I did the X-Men.
And, bringing up Jean and Wolvie, that's kind of the flip side of Psyche fell in love with Madeline because she looked like Jean. Wolverine fell in love with Heather Hudson, which is Guardian's wife from Alpha Flight. And he got a thing for the redheads. Then he met Jean. He's like, okay, you'll do. You look close enough. And I always thought that was kind of interesting.
He falls for the ones that are unavailable.
What's that?
He falls for the ones that are unavailable.
Yeah.
Very much a proxy. Yeah. And okay, so Scott, Jean, Wolverine, Wolvie going down to Hudson. All right, I'm sharing the screen now. Let me know if you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so that was the Ian Churchill cover. So some stuff happened at some point. So
Totsy.
Yeah. So all right, so I'm gonna stop sharing that one. We won't even bring up White Queen because she's just a train wreck. One I don't know much about at all because my Marvel lore is definitely stronger than my DC lore, but I know Green Arrow and Black Canary is like one of these super.
They've been together for like ever.
What can you guys tell me about them?
Consistent.
I don't know how they got together. I don't remember. I don't remember ever reading about how they got together, but they seemed like a couple that worked. The two of them together kind of completed each other.
Yeah.
They would occasionally banter, and he would put her down, she would put him down, and you had the good banter. But I think she actually made a better partner for him than Speedy did.
Oh yeah,
but I wasn't reading it. Yeah, I wasn't reading it when that jump was made from having Speedy as a partner to her as a partner.
Oh,
so I don't know how it came about, but it seemed organic to me.
Yes,
it seemed like
very organic.
Worked. It seemed like it worked. So
it was an easy relationship, not a lot of tension. They just worked together. What was the Alex Ross Superman painted series where they're all old? Kingdom Come. Thank you. I have that one. And they're an old couple there, and they're still together.
Are they?
Yeah, he's even missing an arm at that point or something. No, that was
Well,
in,
yeah, that would have been from Dark Knight.
Yeah, that was Dark Knight.
And she wasn't meant, or she wasn't in there at that point. I don't remember if she was mentioned.
But Kingdom Come, they're still together, and they're an old couple together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just like that certain couple that always meshed so well together. Well, I mean, Dick and I, my husband and I, we've been together for 45 years, and we've never had an argument.
Seriously.
That's
amazing.
Yep. If we have a problem, we talk it out. And that strikes me as that they're that type of couple that they're steady as a rock.
One of my favorite comic couples did nothing but bicker for a while. But they also seem like a natural fit. Hawkeye and Mockingbird.
Which is the reflection of Green Arrow. It's another reflection.
And they did bicker a lot. And there was
they fought like cats and dogs. But I had a great aunt and great uncle who they fought like cats and dogs with each other. But if anybody picked on one or the other of them, oh my gosh, to get out of the way. So they love each other, but they love to needle each other. So yeah, some people that's one of the ways they show love. So I could see that one. It doesn't feel quite as organic as the Green Arrow Black Canary one does, but it works. It works.
You know, I remember. Do you guys remember why Hawkeye and Mockingbird wound up with the problems that led to divorce? There was
I don't think I was reading it at that time.
West Coast Avengers. Early in the run, she basically gets kidnapped into the past by the original Ghost Rider. You know, not like Ghost Rider, like the cowboy.
The one with the
cowboy Ghost Rider.
Going by the name Phantom Rider. Okay, so a different guy. He basically drugs her with some stuff that makes her think she loves him. So he essentially rapes her. And she comes out of this drug-induced stuff, realizes that he's been manipulating her. And she doesn't kill him, but he's falling off of a cliff. And she doesn't stop it from happening. And so he falls to his death. When the wackos
she doesn't
get her
push
back,
him, but she doesn't save him.
Correct. And she explains everything to Hawkeye and what happened and blah blah blah. Hawkeye was pissed that she let the dude die.
Oh,
that was beyond what Avengers do. Avengers do not go to death.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd push that effer off the effing thing myself and like let me put a bolt in his head and
yeah,
if it was my woman. But yeah, he was like, Avengers don't kill. And that's what tainted their marriage.
Wow.
I seem to remember reading that. Yeah, that's sounding familiar now that you're telling it. But yeah, that didn't seem quite as organic to me as some other stories have. I've seen it's real that sort of thing does happen, but it didn't feel right for those characters to me. But
I would have often.
Well, we've got about.
I would have strung him up by a certain organ, but yeah.
Oh, I once told one of my daughter's boyfriends that if he ever laid a hand on her, I'd hunt him down, break his kneecaps with a baseball bat, and then take a electric knife.
You're a good mom. So, last question before we
wrap
up.
Fair warning.
What's that?
Right?
Yeah, fair warning. Well, I've been through a previous marriage, a starter marriage many years ago, and nope, never going to let it happen to my daughter.
Good.
On that note.
Let's just do a light one. Archie, who's the better fit?
I was wondering when you were going to bring up Archie and Betty.
Yeah, I love that.
I wanted to leave the fun, lighthearted one for the end.
So you ask the eternal question with Archie. Betty. I would pick Betty any day of the week.
Betty to me is like Gwen was to Peter. I definitely am Team Betty as well.
Well, and it's Veronica is she's a kind of a narcissist. She's into herself.
But I just don't think Archie would be comfortable in her world.
No.
No.
Nope.
No. The girl next door is definitely the right one. So, Rob, let me ask you, Gilligan's Island, were you Team Marianne or Team Ginger?
Marianne, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, different shows, different games.
Not Livy.
Yeah.
I always wanted the professor and Ginger to get together.
Really?
Yes.
I never saw that.
Didn't it? It seemed like to me it would work.
Yeah.
You know, the bright guy with the dumb girl.
Yeah.
So balanced?
Yeah.
Brains and Bimbo?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't quite all there either, but so yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Barb. That would be a great combo.
Well, everybody, we have hit the 1 hour mark. And
we did.
And I want to thank you both for chatting this through with me. I really appreciate it. It's kind of nice not to have to click on PowerPoints and everything all night long. I'm totally going to be clicking my little head off in 2 weeks when we do quizzing again with trivia. But no, I thank you guys for taking the walk down love memory lane with me. Javier, thank you for throwing so much cool stuff into chat tonight. Pops, thank you for stopping by. Everybody who is watching with us live or listening later, watching us later, thank you for being with us. You guys are the reason that we do this. So please keep watching, like and subscribe if you have not yet already. And subscribe right down below. And if we could wrap it up, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Barb. And as we close out, we always like to say, make mine Silverline.
Hey, this is Paul Pelletier. Make mine Silverline. Is that okay, Roland?